Right now, somewhere in your yard, a bird is calling out, and it is not singing for the joy of it. It is sending a message with a meaning as precise as any word you have ever spoken. And some of those messages, the ones you hear every single morning without thinking twice, are about you. Welcome back to Backyard Bird Mind. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe, because what you're about to learn will change the way you look at every bird that visits your yard. Most people hear birdsong and think of it as background noise, a pleasant wash of sound that means spring or morning or nature doing its thing. But what you are actually hearing is a conversation, a live, real-time conversation between dozens of birds who are tracking everything that moves in your yard, including you. They are using specific calls with specific meanings, and once you learn to hear the difference, your yard will never sound the same again. Scientists have identified more than 15 distinct call types used by common backyard species, each one carrying a different message, a different urgency, a different instruction. Your yard is not quiet. It has never been quiet. You just did not speak the language. Until now. Let us start with the one you hear most and understand least. That rapid, buzzy chatter of the black-capped chickadee. You know the sound. That bright, fast chickadee-dee-dee-dee that seems to come from everywhere at once. Most people assume it is just the bird announcing itself. It is not. That call is one of the most sophisticated alarm systems in the entire animal kingdom. Researchers at the University of Montana discovered that the number of D notes at the end of the call changes depending on the threat.
A large predator flying overhead, a red-tailed hawk, a bald eagle, gets a short call, 2, maybe 3 D notes. But a small, agile predator perched nearby, a pygmy owl, a sharp-shinned hawk tucked into the canopy, gets a long, rapid burst, 5, 6, sometimes more than 20 D notes in quick succession. The chickadee is not just saying danger, it is describing the danger. It is encoding the size of the predator, the proximity of the threat, and the level of urgency into a single variable, the number of syllables. And here is what should stop you in your tracks. Every other species in your yard understands this. The nuthatches understand it, the woodpeckers understand it, the juncos, the titmice, the wrens, they all speak chickadee. When a chickadee gives a high D alarm, birds of completely different species will freeze, dive for cover, or mob the predator, depending on exactly what the chickadee said. Your yard has a shared language, and the chickadee is the one broadcasting the news. Now pay attention to something different. That loud, sharp chip that cuts through everything else, the one that sounds like a stone hitting a stone, that is your northern cardinal, and that chip is not a song, it is a location ping. Male and female cardinals use it constantly to stay in contact when they cannot see each other. She is in the dense shrub on the east side of your yarn, he is up in the oak on the west side, and every few seconds one of them sends that chip and the other answers. They are saying, I am here, are you there? I am here. Cornell Lab of Ornithology documented pairs doing this hundreds of times a day, a running conversation that never stops from the moment they wake up until the moment they roost.
If you listen carefully in the late afternoon, right before dusk, you will hear the chips get faster and closer together. That is the pair converging. They are finding each other before nightfall. They are saying, come closer, it is almost time. And when they finally land on the same branch, side by side, the chipping stops. They can see each other. They do not need words anymore. And what makes it even more extraordinary is what happens when one of them does not answer. Researchers have recorded cardinals who lose a mate continuing to chip into empty air for days. The same call, the same rhythm, the same expectation of a reply that does not come. The surviving bird does not stop. It keeps calling, because that is what it has done every single day for as long as it can remember. They have been doing this in your yard, probably for years, and you never knew it was a conversation. It was a marriage, conducted entirely in sound. Here is one that most people get completely wrong. When a robin starts singing from the highest point it can find, the peak of your roof, the top of a dead tree, the very tip of a fence post, most people think it is happy, it is celebrating the morning. It is not. That robin is drawing a line. That song is a territory declaration aimed directly at other robins. This space is mine. I am strong enough to hold it, and if you cross this boundary, I will fight you. Researchers at the National Audubon Society found that robins adjust the complexity of their song based on how serious the challenge is. A casual intruder gets a simple, repeated phrase, but a rival trying to establish nearby gets longer, more elaborate sequences, the robin equivalent of raising its voice, and the rival listens.
If the song is complex and sustained, most challengers back off without a fight. The battle was won with language alone. You have probably stood on your porch with a cup of coffee, listening to a robin sing, and thought, what a beautiful morning. What you were actually hearing was a property dispute being settled in real time. Now listen for silence. This is the one that changes everything once you know it. When your yard goes quiet, truly quiet, not just a pause between songs, but a sudden, complete absence of sound, something has happened. A Cooper's hawk just glided through. A cat just appeared at the edge of the fence. A snake just moved through the ground cover. And the silence is not random, it is coordinated. One bird sees the threat and gives an alarm, sometimes so high-pitched that human ears can barely register it. And within 2 seconds, every bird in a 200-foot radius has gone silent. Not because they all saw the danger, because they all heard the one bird that did. The silence is the message. It means freeze, go still, do not draw attention. And it holds until a chickadee, almost always a chickadee, gives the all clear. That soft 2-note Phoebe that sounds like it is asking a question. That is the reset. That is the word that means safe again. And the whole yard comes back to life at once, like someone flipped a switch. If you have ever noticed your yard go dead quiet and then suddenly get loud again, you did not imagine it. You heard an emergency broadcast system activate and deactivate, and every bird in your yard knew exactly what was happening, except you.
If you are learning things about your yard that you never expected, take a moment to subscribe and share this video with someone who watches birds from their window. They need to hear this too. There is a call that most people have never consciously noticed, but once you hear it, you will never unhear it. The seat call. A thin, high-pitched whistle, seat, that sounds almost like an insect. Titmice use it, chickadees use it, nuthatches use it, and it means one thing: hawk overhead. Do not move, do not look up. The reason it sounds that way is not an accident. That thin, high frequency is almost impossible to locate directionally. A hawk flying over can hear it, but it cannot pinpoint where it came from. The bird giving the alarm is invisible to the predator while warning everyone around it. A whisper designed by evolution to save lives without giving away the speaker. The American Bird Conservancy documented this call across more than 40 species of North American songbirds. 40 species, all using the same sound, the same frequency, the same meaning. It is the closest thing the bird world has to a universal word, and it means danger above. You have probably seen birds freeze on your feeder for no reason you could see, gripping the perch perfectly still, eyes fixed upward. They heard the seat. You did not. But every bird in your yard did, and they all responded instantly, because that one sound means the same thing to a chickadee in Maine as it does to a titmouse in Georgia. Now here's where your yard starts to feel different. Carolina wrens, those loud, bold little birds that seem to own every corner of your yard, have a call that researchers struggle to categorize for decades. It is not an alarm, it is not a territory song, it is not a mating call.
It is a low, buzzy chirr that they give when moving through a familiar space, foraging along the same path they take every morning, checking the same crevices they checked yesterday. Ornithologists at the Cornell lab began calling it a comfort call, a vocalization that seems to mean everything is normal, I am in my place, the world is as it should be. The wren gives this call most consistently in yards where the environment is stable, where the same person fills the same feeder at the same time, where the garden is maintained the same gentle way. The wren's comfort call is a review of your stewardship. It is the bird saying, this place is reliable. This place is safe enough for me to relax in. If you hear that soft rolling chirr as a wren moves through your bushes with its tail cocked up, your yard just passed the test. Not a human test, a bird test, the kind that actually matters. And then there is the blue jay, the loudest voice in any yard, bold, brash, impossible to ignore. Most people think of blue jays as the troublemakers, the bullies of the feeder. But that sharp, metallic jeer, that aggressive jai, 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 is not random aggression. It is a hawk alarm. Blue jays are exceptional hawk detectors, and when they spot one, they do not whisper about it, they scream. They want the hawk to know it has been seen, because a hawk that has lost the element of surprise will often leave. The blue jay is not just warning the other birds, it is confronting the predator directly. I see you. Everyone sees you now. Your hunt is over. Researchers at Project Feeder Watch found that yards with resident blue jays have measurably lower predation rates, not because jays fight hawks, but because they announce them so loudly that the hawks give up.
The bird you thought was a bully is actually the bodyguard, and every small bird in your yard knows it. There is one more call, and it is the one that ties all of this together. Chickadees, the same birds that run the alarm system, the same ones that tell 40 species what is dangerous and what is safe, have a soft, gentle contact call that has nothing to do with danger. A short, sweet seat, quieter than the alarm, softer than the territory song, easier to miss than almost any other sound in your yard. It just says, I am here, you are there, we are together, everything is fine. Researchers at the University of Alberta found that chickadees adjust this call based on who is nearby. Within a flock, individuals have slightly different versions, vocal signatures, that identify who is speaking. They know each other by voice. But here is what the research found that changes everything. Chickadees who live in yards with a consistent human presence, someone who fills the feeder regularly, who moves predictably, who speaks in a calm voice, begin to incorporate that human into their spatial awareness. The contact calls do not stop when you step outside. They continue. The flock does not treat your appearance as an interruption. It treats it as a known event. You are not a threat to be announced. You are not a predator to be tracked. You are a fixture, a part of the landscape they narrate to each other in real time. And when a chickadee lands on a branch near your head and gives that soft seat while looking directly at you, it is not begging for food. It is including you. It is placing you in the map of its world and telling the flock you are here, the way it would tell them about any other trusted part of their environment.
That sound, that tiny, barely there note that you could miss if the wind blew, is the closest thing in the bird world to your name. Think about what that means. Every morning when you step out your back door and the yard fills with sound, the chickadee chatter, the cardinal chips, the robin song, the wren chirr, the thin seat whisper you can barely hear, you are not hearing noise. You are hearing a community that has built its entire communication system around your yard and has woven you into it. They are warning each other about hawks. They are finding their mates before dark. They are claiming territory, resolving disputes without fighting, whispering about danger in frequencies designed to be untraceable, and confirming that the world is still safe, still home. And somewhere in all of that, somewhere in the layered, constant conversation happening in the branches above your head, there is a note that means you, not a human, not a threat, not a stranger. You, the one who fills the feeder, the one who moves slowly, the one who has been here so long that you are no longer something they talk about. You are someone they talk around. You became part of the language itself. So the next time you stand in your yard and listen, really listen, ask yourself this: how many of those calls have you been hearing for years without knowing what they meant? How many warnings did you miss? How many greetings did you walk right past? And which one of those tiny, barely audible notes was the one that has always meant you? If you heard something in your yard today that you never noticed before, tell me about it in the comments. And if this changed the way you listen, share it with someone who deserves to hear what the birds have been saying about them all along.
I will see you in the next one.